Good evening, everybody. I think y'all a little more awake than that. Good evening, everybody. Okay, how's everyone doing in here? Everyone's doing good? Can we give a round of applause for the graduating class of Justice Ambassadors? My name is Jason Bostic. I'm the program coordinator of Justice Ambassadors. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank Columbia University. I would like to thank the Forum, and I would like to thank the Center for Justice. I want to give a special shout out to Professor Geraldine Downey, who's not here right now. She'll be here in a sec. I want to give a special thank out to the director and co-founder, Cheryl Wilkins. And I'd like to give a last shout out to the late, great Kathy Boudin. So for those of you who haven't heard of Justice Ambassadors before, welcome. Justice Ambassadors is an 8-week educational seminar that gets government officials to work together with youth from the local communities to co-create policy. I want to also thank the founder of Justice Ambassadors, Jarrell Daniels, who blazed Justice Ambassadors for me and Gabriel Feldman to take over. And I also want to highlight the importance of Justice Ambassadors between the collaboration between government and the youth members. When you think about policy being made, you often think about policy being made by government officials when the youth are not in the room. The people that are impacting the most are not there to have their input. But Justice Ambassadors allows government officials to come and take off their hat and take off their title and show up as their first name, and to be able to collaborate with youth and brainstorm on how we can make our community better. At Justice Ambassadors, we have a model called policy by proximity, where we believe that the solution to the problem is closest to it. While facilitating Justice Ambassadors, I like to say that this is my second cohort facilitating Justice Ambassadors, third if you count New Rochelle. But this cohort of Justice Ambassadors, they knew what they wanted to do from day one. And pre-programming, they already had their policy ideas, and they gave the government a run for their money, for real. And I also want to say this is the most attended cohort of Justice Ambassadors. We usually have about 12 youth members and 12 government officials to sit in for Justice Ambassadors. And here at Justice Ambassadors, each youth member brought another person each week. And I want to personally thank Charles of the Forum, and thank him for allowing us to squeeze in that tiny room. When they gave us the room for the Forum, they said we have about 30 people to fit in, and most of the time we was pushing the limit or a little bit more. And I also want to thank the youth personally. Seeing you grow each week, define your ideas, hone in on your skills. I want you to know that Justice Ambassadors is not just an opportunity for you to gain social skills and broaden your social network, but to use it as a stepping stone so you could take your future, right? A lot of times, sometimes coming from communities like we come from, we feel like God is skipping us. But I want to say that every week that you showed up and learned, and each week you challenged me, you challenged the government officials, and you challenged yourself. So I want to thank y'all personally. Can we give a round of applause for the youth? And I want to give a shout out to the government officials, because I know coming in, you told you would be worked with sometimes people quote high-risk youth, marginalized youth, but each week the government officials came in ready to work, and they also facilitated, and they also made sure the policy proposals is great for all of you that came today. And lastly, but not least, I want to thank my co-facilitator, Pauline Ross. When I first was told that I was facilitating Justice Ambassador, when it was frankly thrown on me, I was like, no way. And Pauline had the same idea. When they told her, Pauline, Ross, you will be the perfect facilitator for Justice Ambassadors, she said, no way. But working with Pauline, she was like a mom figure to all of us. She made sure that we was on time. And just like today, she said 6 o'clock, we're starting. I don't care who's not here, we're starting. So I'd like to give a shout out to Pauline Ross and welcome her to the mic.
Thank you, Jason, and good evening. My name is Pauline Ross. I'm a government lawyer in the office of New York State Inspector General Lucy Lang, and I am so pleased, so thrilled to be here and to be a part of the Justice Ambassadors community. The special sauce, I think, right? We talk about policy by proximity, but the special sauce that makes Justice Ambassadors so important is that word community. And that's what Jason and I did every week. We took these talented, amazing young people and paired them with these wonderful government, beautiful, wonderful government officials and created a community. And through that community, we were able to inform and formulate policy. And it was just the most amazing experience that God's truth I almost missed. So when Jarrell asked me 2 years ago to be a part of the cohort, I initially said no. And that's hard, right, to say no to Jarrell. But the truth of the matter is that I didn't want to do it. I'm going to be completely candid. I was just too busy. You know, I'm a single mom, I work, and if I'm really keeping it real, there was a little part of me that said, I already do government service, right? I'm a lawyer in government service. I'm already doing that. Do I really need to give back? Do I have time to give more? And I'm so glad that my, schedule, but really my ego did not prevent me from being a part of this program. Because I got to tell you, everything that I did for it, I got back 1,000,000 times. It changed me, something fundamental inside. It helped me to remember why I got into government service in the first place. I didn't even realize that it had died down, that it needed to be reawakened. But I had to get out of myself, and I had to have this time with folks to do so. So I would say to you, government officials that are sitting here in this audience, I know there's some big dogs here, and I know that you're very busy. If you are asked to serve, I think you should say yes. The time that you'll have to give away to doing this work with Justice Ambassadors is minimal, truthfully, right? 2 hours a week, 2.5 months. Maybe things get busy, right, when we're about to do the graduation. But for the most part, very, very manageable. But what I promise you, that you will get it back and then some. What you give to the program will give back to you. And part of that is because of that special sauce of formulating a community. God, how lucky am I to be a part of the Justice Ambassadors community? Stop playing. I am so lucky and so grateful to be here with you tonight. And Jason and I wanted to give a shout out to the other people that make up the Justice Ambassador community. Where is the Youth Justice Network? I know you're in the house. Where are you? Let me hear you. Woo! Big supporters of what we do, as is the School for Professional Studies, SPS. Are you here, represented? Thank you. So as a part of our cohort, we have mentors, youth mentors that are with us every week. And I'm going to say their names, and if they would just stand, I'd be grateful. Where's Darius Bryant? Dominic, all right, Dominic DuPont. Is Marianne here? Samaya. Where's Titus? And Wesley. So thank you for your service. We also want to thank Sashir Al-Kamish. I know I'm messing up names. I apologize. A partner with the Youth Justice Network and a mentor. A big shout out to Elizabeth Seymour, who's at the Manhattan DA's office, who's been a big supporter. Look at Jarrell walking in here quietly. Look at Jarrell, y'all. And I would like to give a real special shout out to another state agency, to the Division of Criminal Justice Services, and in particular, where's Jason? There he is. So Brianne met Jason at a conference, I think, and he heard about the Justice Ambassadors, and he said, how can I help? And Brianne said, well, you know, we would like to have a site visit, but you guys are all the way in Albany, so, and he was like, done. He got us a bus, and not a janky bus, a nice bus that took us from New York City up to Albany. They fed us, but most importantly, they put us in the room for one full day with decision makers, people that give funding to programs like the ones that our ambassadors are working on, people that deal with policy. I was just so touched and impressed. And that's because of your commissioner. You've got a great commissioner. And so thank you, Jason. Thank you to Commissioner Rosanna Rosado, the Division of Criminal Justice Services. Yep. So we're pulling it together, right? This is just like our class on Tuesday. Some folks are coming in. We might need to move things around, so we ask you to bear with us. But at this time, we are sticking on our program. And so I'm so excited to offer you the remarks of Mr. Bill Haney. Bill is going to come up and speak with you about his interest in the program and tell us a little bit about himself. And we are so happy to have you. And I'm sorry I didn't have your bio, but come on up here, Bill.
Thank you, guys. From the block to the world, redefining our path. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank Columbia University's Center for Social Justice for sponsoring this incredible program and giving these young men and women a platform to grow. To the mentors, leaders, and families here today, your commitment to guiding and supporting these graduates is deeply appreciated. But most importantly, I want to congratulate you, the graduates. Today is about celebrating your resilience, your hard work, and the future you're building. Over the past 8 weeks, you've embraced a challenge that demanded more than just showing up. It required commitment, determination, and belief in yourselves. You've learned critical life skills, developed proposals to improve communities, and worked alongside mentors to reimagine your futures. And now here you are today, ready to take the next step. Let me share a little about my own journey. I grew up on the block, the streets of East Oakland. That block shaped me, taught me lessons about grit, survival, and community. But it also limited me in many ways. I couldn't understand at that time. I realized that to grow, I had to step off the block and create a new one. A block built on vision, purpose, and possibility. The decision didn't just change my life, it allowed me to build something lasting. Today, my block isn't a street anymore. It's a mindset, a legacy, and a commitment to being better every single day. And now, as you sit here, Columbia University is your block. This is where you've started to transform. This is where you've built a foundation for success, and this block is here for you to return as often as you need to. New block and new stars. The stars are in our homes and not on television. Some of you might be too young to have kids right now, but if and when you do, remember this: the next star is found right here in places like this, on your block, not on television. And remember, you are qualified. You are experienced. Columbia has given you the tools to know what to do. But your experiences from the block, you've learned what not to do. And those are just as important. As you graduate and step onto this new block, carry those lessons with you. Build something extraordinary, not just for yourselves, but for the stars that come after you. Columbia University, right here at Broadway and 116th Street, isn't just a campus, it's a new block. And this block represents everything you've worked for, opportunity, growth, and the power to give back. You can come back here to gain as much knowledge as you want and give as much inspiration as you can. This is your block now. Own it, embrace it, and make it your launch pad to greatness. Lessons from experience. See, what makes us even more valuable than those who know what to do is our experience in knowing what not to do. It's those lessons, those tough, sometimes painful lessons that we gain through true wisdom. And now you graduates are fortunate to have both. You've had the guidance of mentors who've walked this path before you. They've shaped their wisdom, not just from their successes, but from their mistakes. This combination of knowledge and experience makes you unstoppable. Your journey is not about where you've been, it's about where you're going. Life will test you. It will try to pull you back into your old ways of thinking and old environments. But you are more than where you've been. You've proven that already. Just like I did on my block, you can take the lessons you've learned here and build something extraordinary. I urge you to think about what kind of legacy you want to leave. What kind of block do you want to create for the next generation? You now have the tools, the knowledge, and the power to redefine your path and inspire others to do the same. Come back to this block, Columbia University, to continue growing, to keep learning, and more importantly, stay connected. And just as you've mentored, I challenge you to one day become mentors to others. As you graduate and step onto this new block, carry those lessons with you. The journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. And in closing, as you walk out of here today, remember, you're not just graduating from a program. You're stepping into your future as leaders, creators, and change makers. You've taken your first step off one block and onto another, a block that stands for resilience, excellence, and hope. Congratulations to each of you. Keep building, keep rising, and keep shining. Thank you.
Can we give another round of applause for Bill Haney, y'all? Now I want to introduce this next person, my mentor, Jarrell Daniels, to come up and give a few words before we give our presentation on Project Restore Best-Eye. Jarrell Daniels is the founder of Justice Ambassadors, and he decided to found Justice Ambassadors after coming from his release in Queensboro facility, where he took a class called Inside Criminal Justice that was led by Professor Geraldine Downey and now Inspector General Lucy Lang. And he thought to himself, why did I have to go to prison to impact policy? So he decided once he came home that he would start it as a preventative measure to prevent incarceration. And that's what the birth of Justice Ambassadors. Can we give a warm welcome for Jarrell Daniels?
Say hi. Say hi. No. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Jason. I think, we continue to live in unprecedented times in this country, still grappling with the results from the recent election, dealing with climate change crises around the world. We're still dealing with the ongoing racial and social justice issues that many of us in this room have dedicated our lives to, and hopefully Kehlani will at some point. And I think it's important for us to recognize the importance of what the Justice Ambassadors really represents beyond a program, right? What it represents is a space for folks to come together across differences, a space for community leaders, organizers, and average citizens to have a stake in shaping policy decisions for New York City government. What Justice Ambassadors represents on paper is much more in the lives of the young people who's impacted by it directly. What we've tried to do with the platform for Justice Ambassadors is not just use it as a vehicle to share voices and ideas and expertise with the world, but to give people an honest stake in shaping how systems and institutions are converging on their lives. I was listening to Sade on the ride up. I was listening to her song, Soldier of Love, and I was thinking about how much of the principles of love have been lost on us sometimes. We always get caught up in the day-to-day struggles of trying to make it, the day-to-day struggles of trying to push back for the changes that we care about the most. We get caught up and we sometimes forget about the things that matter the most, like the people who love us, the people who've sacrificed for us, and the people who've done things that we don't even know about to this day on our behalf. And I say these things not to go off on a tangent, but to remind us of our humanity as human beings and to remind us of just how much far we have to go. Because when I think about the future I want for Kehlani, I think about a future where she won't have to worry about being outside late at night, coming off the train, and worrying about her safety. I think about the kind of future where she won't have to walk down the block and experience being catcalled. I think about the kind of future where she can be an executive and won't have to worry about her gender positionality affecting how people see her competence level in the workplace and will compensate her based on her contributions to that space. When I think about the future I want for Kehlani, it's the same future I've wanted for all of the young people I've worked with over the years. It's the same kind of future I've dedicated my life to since coming home from prison, to try to model that for young people when I was once considered young. And it's the kind of future that I think some of the young folks in this room are ready to carry the mantle forward for. And Jason is one shining testament of that, but there's so many others in the room today. For the sake of time, I'm not gonna call your names out, but I want y'all to know that the Justice Ambassadors was designed for you, wasn't designed for me, wasn't designed for the government folks. It was designed for us to help get closer to our purpose and our destiny. Now, I tried to share these sentiments before the start of each cohort to remind the young people of the significance of the power that they're wielding when they step inside of these rooms with government executives. I tried to ground them in the reality that you're now introduced to a network that should be invested in your future, that should be invested in seeing you thrive, that should be invested in helping you get to where you want to be in life. And that's the kind of future that I envision for us all. Thank you.
So, Darrell was a facilitator, obviously, for the first cohort of Justice Ambassadors. And then in the second cohort, he was supposed to take a back seat and chill out. He wasn't able to sit on his hands for that second cohort, and he ended up collaborating with his prosecutor, Nigel. During that cohort, they designed and came up with a response to gun and gang violence. That program was called Project Restore. It wasn't Bed-Stuy yet, because we hadn't decided where it's going to happen. Jason and I are going to run through that program. We're going to try and keep it brief because there's a lot to cover. We have reports and fact sheets, and I'm happy to talk about all of it afterwards. So any questions you have or anything that we might have skipped over, find me, find Jarrell, find Jason, find, honestly, probably 50% of people in this room know a lot about the program, so feel free to ask us.
So I want to give a shout out to some of the people that helped get Project Restore off the ground, starting with Professor Geraldine Downey, Brooke Burrows, Darrell McGee, Gabriel Feldman, Jarrell Daniels, and then Jason Bostic on the end. Yeah. So here's the table of contents of some of the things that we'll be talking about throughout the presentation, starting with the problem statement, the partnerships, the program framework, the outcomes and impact, and future directions. So gun violence costs the United States approximately $557 billion per year. And in 2021, over 20,000 Americans died from gun violence homicides. The firearm homicide rate in the United States is 25 times higher than any other high-income country. Gang-related violence, an estimated account of half the shootings of incidents in New York City, and young gang involvement primarily driven based on trauma, unmet basic needs because of the lack of resources in their neighborhood. So if you look here, here's a couple things we want to highlight of risk indicators. When you look at unemployment, in New York City's average is 6, and Bedford-Stuyvesant is 8. But the real key mark, I want you to look at incarceration per 100,000. New York City is 196 per 100,000, and Brooklyn is 210. But in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn is 472 per 100,000 residents. And I want you to know that Brooklyn has the highest residents in New York City. If you also look at non-fatal assault, there's 59 in the New York City average, along with Brooklyn, and there's 117 in Bedford-Stuyvesant. I want to give a shout out to the partnerships that help Project Restore, starting with the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. Shout out Deanna Logan. Give a round of applause for that. I want to thank the KCDA and DA Eric Gonzalez. I want to thank Columbia University, the Center for Justice, that help with life skills training and monitoring and evaluation. I want to thank Bridge Street Incorporation that helped for the financial management of the program and case management. And I want to thank Inside Circle, which were started by 5 formerly incarcerated dudes doing life in prison. And they decided to do healing restorative circles inside the prison, and they brought it out. And they travel each week, every Saturday, to New York City to be with people that's considered high risk. I also want to give a shout out to the support and collaborators on the ground. Man up. I want to give a shout out to Shaniqua Purvis for both sides of the violence. I want to give a shout out to Bro Experience and the NYPD. How is Project Restore different? When you think about the law enforcement approaches previously, they didn't really work. You think about stop and frisk, and you think how police officers used to pat down people physically of suspected gang members, which ultimately it was deemed unconstitutional because of all the unlawful arrests. You think about Operation Crew Cut, and you think about the mass sweeping of neighborhoods, where they think that they're taking out the gang members of the community, but they also taking away the pillars of the community. The thing that they don't talk about gang indictments is that it's a temporary fix. When you take away these 18 people, when you take away these 16 people of their environment, of the community, the following generation that's under them feel like they gotta follow in their footsteps. They feel like they gotta fill in their shoes. And they do way worse than the generation before them because they don't have the same knowledge. And I also approached a previous law enforcement was cure violence. People coming into the community and high-risk catchment areas or hot spots, what they like to call it, working with high-risk youth, and then working with them alone. But Project Restore Bed-Stuy gave a different approach. It was a collaboration between government, community, and academia, which was truly transformational, right? And when thinking about Project Restore Bed-Stuy, they decided to say, we want to work with the people that's likely to do shooting or be shot. Project Restore Bed-Stuy worked with 2 rival gangs, that was prosecuted for a gang indictment. Roosevelt Projects and Sumner Projects, 2 blocks away from each other. But what Project Restore did, it helped these 2 rival gangs get holistic services to reconcile a beef and to look to have a beautiful community.
So I'm not Jarrell nor Jason, so I got these, so bear with me. So as mentioned, PRB was a first of its kind intervention, one that provided meaningful wraparound support for some of the highest risk youth in the city. It was a 12-month intensive, it was a gun and gang violence intervention program. It was for, as Jason mentioned, for 30 street-involved young men from 2 rival crews. It had 5 programming facets, and importantly, a basic income aspect that provided a foundation for not only meaningful participation, but also for the stability for substantial growth. All 30 participants were paid $25 an hour for up to 20 hours a week. These 20 hours of work and programming occurred Monday all the way through Saturday. And I know because I was at pretty much all of it. Half of those hours could be earned through an internship that was sourced in the community based on their interests, so they could gain work experience and hands-on skills. All of the staff had backgrounds similar to the participants. This proved crucial in establishing and maintaining trust. Each intern had a case manager and a mentor assigned to them to help with everything from getting an ID to helping their families through crises. Inside Circle, some of the most impressive men I have ever been lucky enough to be in a room with, and I'm standing next to Jason, and I've gotten to work with Jarrell, so that says something. They did restorative healing circles. They gave a space where the youth could eventually feel safe enough to drop their guard and practice being vulnerable and start to even maybe process some of that unprocessed trauma. Life skills was actually modeled off Justice Ambassadors, the curriculum, by Professor Geraldine Downey and Jarrell Daniels. It aimed to prepare the young men to build critical consciousness, develop transformative leadership skills, as well as skills for the workforce and their adult life. These last 2 facets, Inside Circle and life skills, were the 2 things that the participants talked about the most as influencing their individual and collective growth. Each part of the program I just mentioned was designed to work in tandem with one another to help these young men move forward towards healthy adult lives. As I mentioned, we spent a lot of time on the report and all the details, so if you have any other questions, I'm not going to run through all these. Feel free to come ask me. Not yet. On the whole, PRB aimed to reduce barriers, provide guidance, and support to allow the high-risk young men to alter their trajectories, thereby leveraging their influence within the community to not only interrupt the retaliatory violence of cycles of violence, but further to help them step into healthy leadership roles to model for the next generation. So let's take a look at some of the characteristics of the participants. Many of the young men who were recruited to volunteer, again, it was a volunteer program, it was not mandated, to volunteer for the program had similar, significant, difficult histories to overcome. This chart really only represents a portion of those challenges that they were facing, but even so, you'll see there was a good deal of them to overcome. I just want to highlight a few. As the program began in January of 2022, none of the youth had a trade school or college degree. All but one was completely disconnected from their educational and professional pathways. Nearly 2/3 had experience being shot at. As Jason has talked about and will talk about further, living with all, most, or even some of these is incredibly difficult to overcome. And it creates the kind of environment that create these kind of adverse responses. responses that are done often merely to survive.
So I'm a Columbia student now. Let me just get it out of the way. Right? So based on a study of psychology, in order for a person to become successful, their basic needs have to be met. And as Americans, we are all promised the American dream. But sadly, some people walk outside, and that's just not their reality. I could talk to you what's on this chart, but I could also talk to you from lived experience. So for me to paint you a picture, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Bed-Stuy. I was a participant of Project Restore Bed-Stuy. But when I was 9 years old, my father was murdered in a brutal robbery. He was tied up, he was taped up, and he was executed in close range in his own basement. Imagine a 9-year-old each day having to go to school and his father's on the New York Times for being murdered. This is a reality I had to live with growing up. This is a reality I tried to run away from growing up. So I tried to play basketball and cope with it. And I realized I was just avoiding it. Another psychology term I did called displacement. Thank you, Professor Donnie. But as I grew up, right, I tried to keep escaping my neighborhood, and I got myself into a couple things. And then my mom told me, you're either gonna get a job or go to school. So I decided to try out school. So I went upstate for community college, and when I tried school, my sister was murdered. Same way, during a robbery. So I felt like my neighborhood had a gravitational pull to me, keep pulling me to my neighborhood. And not by coincidence, I don't believe. My sister was murdered in December 2022. Project Restore Bed-Stuy began January 2023. If you look here, the average fulfillment of needs, when you don't have the basic needs, you still want to achieve that American dream. But you try to fulfill the needs in other ways. And that's where gang membership comes from. But gang membership have maladaptive fulfillment. It has unstable and inadequate housing, high stress levels. There's financial insecurity and exposure to high gun violence. There's conditional love and negative peer pressure and a suppression of feelings. And then you feel trapped, hopeless, in a 4-block radius of your neighborhood surrounded by liquor stores and smoke shops, along with the violence. But Project Restore swooped into our neighborhood, and they satisfied those needs. They gave stability to growth. Before Project Restore, I didn't have no ID. I obtained the ID, a bank account, and a 401k. Phase 2, supportive environment. Project Restore embraced our vulnerability, so I began to tell my story like I'm telling in front of you all. To not see it as something that's holding me back, but looking at it as a catapult to my future. It helped me heal from my trauma and gain self-confidence. And in phase 3, personal, community, and social change, it allows us to peacefully coexist in our neighborhood and in the beef in Bed-Stuy. And it allowed me to find purpose and have a plan. Like I said, imagine each day you walk outside and nobody had IDs. But you constantly getting stopped by police officers and they don't believe you. What's your name? So they're taking you in anyway. 100% of the participants in Project Restore got their ID. 80% got their driver's permit. And 93% completed employee rotation. So if you think about it, the same people that was causing the harm to their community are now off the streets doing their internship. Here are a few testimonials from the people that graduated Project Restore. Someone said, I learned to be more emotionally aware, to see how I'm feeling, to see where it was rooted from, instead of just acting based on emotion. And someone said, before, I felt like since I was used to going back and forth to jail, that was who I am. But now, since doing the program, it has made me feel just like I'm a person. Some key achievements. 100% completion with no gun violence involvement. And there's 5 retaliatory shootings prevented. This is working with high-risk youth, y'all. People got shot during Project Restore. But the collaboration with the DA, the collaboration with academia at Columbia University. The collaboration with NYPD and sitting down, being able to talk with them, we were able to have dialogue to be able to get through those things. If you look here, the gun violence for shooting victims went down 28% inside Bed-Stuy, and also 22% in felony assaults. 18 to 24-year-olds went down 63% in shooting reduction. I want to give a shout out to the staff of Project Restore Bed-Stuy. 100% of the staff is pursuing their career in employment. 4 formerly incarcerated staff are enrolled in graduate and undergraduate programs. Shout out Dominic DuPont, right? He's in here. 6 formerly incarcerated staff secured full-time, long-term employment with increased earnings. And 2 staff was hired by the KCDA, my favorite if you may ask, on ongoing support to participants and community safety. The cost-benefit analysis. Project Restore cost about $2.4 million for it to be ran, but it saved the city over $16 million. And this benefits of the prevention of incarceration and retaliatory shootings. And if you think about it, it costs $500,000 to hold somebody on Rikers Island. And if you do the math and divide it, 30 people, 2.4 million is around $80,000. The benefit cost ratio is 6.7 to 1. And a public safety working group, right? My favorite, I might ask. A part of the program, 3 people from each side sat down 8 months into the program at the mayor's office, and we was able to talk through our differences. I was able to talk through Wesley, Darius, and Deshaun, and realize that it was bigger than us, and that we really didn't know why we was beefing. So it led to a call to action, in which 9 people of the project, the public safety working group out of the 14 are now enrolled into college. In conclusion, to fully capitalize PRB potential and the momentum we have, PRB's shown the significant promise of a proactive public health approach to addressing gang-related violence. Additional funding, sustained programming is required to ensure short-term impacts translates to long-term successes. Replication of the project model will be provided a more robust evidence and effectiveness and scalability in addressing gun violence all across the nation. Thank you. And for time's sake, you can scan this QR code and see the evaluation more in depth. Thanks.
All right. So this is the moment of why y'all are actually here. We're going to get to the policy proposals. First up, I want to welcome Molly, Hector, and Jester.
Hi, everybody. So I hope we're all doing good. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. My name is Jester. This is Molly. This is Hector. And today we're going to be proposing a project that we've been working on that we believe would benefit our target audience as well as the community surrounding them. And so without further ado, I would like to propose community flowers. Now, get this. I'm about to show my age real quick. It's 9 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Does anybody remember that commercial? Well, nowadays, I think it's more prevalent to say it's 3 o'clock. Do you know what your kids are doing? Because a lot of children nowadays are on social media, being influenced by all sorts of troubling things that they really shouldn't be involved with. A lot of kids are outside getting into trouble because they don't have anything better to do. And, you know, parents try really, really hard. They really do. But sometimes we can't always give them the things that they need to thrive the way that they may need. So with Community Flowers, we're hoping to offer a space that is safe for children, where they can be productive, they can be energetic, they can spend their time there and learn something and give back to the community. They will be liberated as children, understanding their value to their community, while also staying out of the streets, staying out of trouble, being influenced by interns and peer mentors who will be, good influences on them so that they have safe people to talk to, safe people to turn to, instead of, getting into trouble with people who may want to peer pressure them into doing bad things. So with that said, I'd like to hand it off to Molly, who will be talking about the roadmap of our project.
So in today's presentation, we're going to talk first about what is the problem, what is our proposed solution. We're going to get a little bit into the specifics of our proposed solution. We're going to talk about who we want to partner with, what our expected outcomes are, and then what we're asking of you. And so now I'll turn it over to Hector to talk about the problem.
How you doing? My name is Hector Rodriguez. I will talk to you guys about the problems that we all see in our community. Young people, inclusive of all genders, needing guidance and a safe place to go after school. Basically, a place that would keep them out of trouble, keep them out of the neighborhoods that they're causing problems in. Young adults looking for a meaningful way to serve their community and gain working experience. A lot of the kids and youth just need to see things different, that not the projects. They need to see, Columbia University and different programs that could just help them strive. And another problem that we see in a lot of our communities is that they just need love and beautification. A lot of our kids grow up with one parent, a mother most likely. They don't know what true love is, and they just really need somebody a shoulder just to lean on. We have Gabe, Jason here, a shoulder that we're able to lean on and just show, how positive we could be and, just better ourselves. So a lot of these problems, we just want to, try to cancel them as much as we can and keep a lot of the young adults out of trouble, keep them away from jail, and, help them strive.
So the proposed solution for this issue that we've noticed is a mentorship program that would take place at school near community gardens on weekdays, Monday to Friday, between school dismissal time until 6 p.m., where there would be one full-time paid coordinator. And the program would be staffed by mentors who are between the ages of 18 and 24. And the reason we propose this idea of the employees being interns of young adult age is also to provide working opportunities for young adults who are transitioning out of school into their career life, because there aren't many employment opportunities for these kids, and a lot of those are limited, finite space. So not only would this offer extracurricular opportunities for the scholars participating in this program, but it would also offer experience and work opportunities for young people who are looking to transition out of school. They're at an age where they can be a good influence to the younger folks around them, but they still need something to do just as much as these scholars. So this program would pair each participant with a mentor. It would be a safe space to spend time after school and would allow them to develop sustainable life skills to uplift their community. Now I'm going to hand it off to Molly.
Back again, Hector. I will be talking to you guys about the specifics of this program, of this project that we want to bring to you all and to our community. Like Molly said, mentors. We want to touch, basically residents in the New York City. The ideal qualities we want them to have is seeking open and collaborative young adults who want to give back to their community by mentoring scholars between ages of 12 and 18. And I think the biggest, the point of this project is that they will be getting paid. The mentors will be getting paid for what they do and what they love to do. This is important to me because I consider myself, I say I was once a problem in my community, now I'm a solution. I say that because I was once a young man, running around doing dumb things. My father got indicted by the feds when I was young, so I lost a lot of that. And then I lost him in 2017 to a heart attack. I was I was one of the biggest leaders in a far rock group, just a young man that didn't know what to do. I caused a lot of issues that I still see in my community that I'm trying to fix. In 2018, Queens Defenders introduced me to a youth program that I think basically changed my life. It was a space where I could go, besides the projects, besides, the precinct, just to keep me out of trouble. Now, 4 years later, 5 years later, I'm a youth mentor at Queens Defenders Emerging Leaders Program. My job is to give, young brothers in here, some of them is in here, the tools that they need to just be successful and just be better. I also organize a lot of events in my community with the local precincts, district attorney's office, and other organizations to, bring the community together. I say all this to say that because being that we will be getting mentors in the neighborhoods that we will be working in, they know what to do. They know who to touch. They know how to touch the people. So that's why this specific topic touched me. I would be giving it back to Molly.
Okay, so what do you need to have to be a scholar in this program? Well, you have to be between the ages of 18 and 12. You have to attend school full time, and it's really open to children who are exploring their gender identity. This is not an overt thing. We don't necessarily want to scare the parents away, but if they're interested in that, this is a place where they know that they will be welcomed, they will be safe, they will have good role models to look up to. Also, if they successfully complete the program, they will each get a stipend of $500. And this is a 4-month program. I'll turn it over to Jester to talk about the partners.
Okay, so we are hoping to partner with a community garden where the students would go and create things to beautify their community. We are hoping to pair up with middle schools and high schoolers to, have our scholars participate and to have people graduating high school or entering college be our interns. And so now I'd like to speak about the expected outcomes. I'll hand it over to Molly.
So just to review, this is going to offer part-time employment for the mentors. It's going to offer safe space for these scholars to go after school, and they're also going to earn some money. And it's going to make the community more beautiful. This will encourage the scholars to feel more fulfilled in their daily lives in and out of school while benefiting the community by beautifying it, such as working on the community garden. I'll turn it back to Jester to talk about what we're asking of you.
So thank you so much for listening so far. Now I'm going to talk about what we need. For this program to happen, we need a space to hold this program, and we will need funding to the staff of the program's coordinator's salary, as well as the mentor's hourly wages and the students' stipends. We would hope to have a max of 40 scholars in order to have this program be manageable. So onto the proposed budget. Molly.
So we're asking for specifically $70,000. We're hoping to partner with the middle school located in the Kingsborough neighborhood in Brooklyn. So we're hoping to get the space for free. We recognize our operational costs, so we estimate that about $5,000. To fund the program coordinator's salary, this is 4 months, we're asking for $20,000. For the mentors' hourly wages, it's a total of $30,000. And for the scholar stipends, if we have 30 scholars, it would be $15,000. And I'll turn it back to Jester.
Thank you so much, everybody. Now, before we move on, now that our proposition is done, we would like to hand out these flowers as a physical representation of every individual that we are hoping to impact. I believe there's 40 flowers here, give or take. And I'm a speaker, not a mathematician. And This will be a physical and visual representation of the impact that we're hoping to achieve and the beauty we're hoping to bring to the community. Thank you so much for having us and listening to us.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call up our next group, the center.
Good evening, and thank you all so much for joining us. Is there a microphone?
Hello.
My name is Carly Sigelski, and I'm going to let everyone else introduce themselves.
I'm Matilda Denergy.
My name is Tahari Spencer.
Johnny Solomon.
My name is Titus Smith. Sekou Toure.
Dominic DuPont.
Nancy Ginsburg.
Messiah Gables.
And last but not least,
And I'm Steven Novas.
so our group has worked extensively over the past few weeks to present to you the center. Clicker. Empowering our communities and providing access to resources they need to thrive. From mental health support to career services that open doors to new opportunities. Whether it's navigating a crisis or gaining financial knowledge to succeed, the center has it. Today, we are going to explore those resources and how our policy makes this vision a reality. And together, we can empower individuals by providing them the resources and the tools for success and meeting them where they are. Without giving too much away about what our proposal is, I'm going to turn it over to the rest of the team to tell you guys the rest.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anna Rose Telemaki. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm excited to share our policy proposal, the Center, meeting people where they are. It's more than just a program. It's about building a stronger, more connected community where everybody has the chance to thrive. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the concept of human development, which may be new to some of you. Simply put, human development is the study of how people grow and change throughout their lives. It focuses on improving well-being in every part of life, emotionally, socially, and physically, with mental health as one of its key pillars. Having established the critical role of mental health, I want to highlight the specific challenges in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. About 15% of people here struggle with severe mental health issues each year, but aren't able to get the help that they need. Struggles with mental health can also contribute to the rising issues like felony assault, which have increased by 20% in just 1 year. On top of that, barriers like stigma and high costs make it even harder for people to get the care that they deserve. These issues are interconnected, creating a cycle of instability that impacts not just individuals, but entire communities. The center will provide mental health services, career resources, housing support, and community programs to address the root causes of the challenges we face. It's about giving people real support that they can rely on and creating a space where people feel safe and understood. Now that we've outlined what the center has to offer, we'll dive deeper into how these services address specific community needs. Thank you.
So the mission is empowering the community by providing accessible mental health and resource services to promote stability, resilience, and growth. So to sum this up just a little bit better, it just means we're just going to target the social factors affecting the mental health of this area specifically, which is poverty, unemployment, housing issues, and traumatic experience. You know, it's a tough world, but it doesn't have to be. The approach that we're going to take is to meet the participants where they are, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and economically. What this means is that we're not only going to provide help, but we're going to provide help that's in reach. And lastly, our target is families and individuals living in this community who want the help, but more importantly, need it. When we help people, they help others, and the community will thrive.
Okay. All right. Our mission statement, which summarizes our mission and the work we're going to be doing here. Okay. To provide accessible, culturally competent mental health and resource services fostering resilience, stability, and empowerment for individuals and families in the community by addressing mental, emotional, and economic needs in safe and inclusive spaces. That's it.
Good afternoon. For our course of action, we're going to look to provide mentors for the hubs, because a lot of times growing up in the type of communities that I grow up in, we don't have like a lot of mentors who do much of anything positive. So there's not much role models or people to look up to. So people, young people such as ourselves, that people in the community could relate to would definitely help and make a difference. There will also be a food pantry there for all the people who usually don't have anything to eat when they go home. This was something that growing up, I had a lot of people who didn't have normal meals how everybody else had them. So that will make a big difference. And then on top of that, the housing support will be very big, because housing support is a lot of people where I'm from struggle with housing support. A lot of people I know sleep with their friends or their cousins or their aunts when they have nowhere else to go. So things like that will definitely help and make the biggest difference.
Hey, y'all. I don't have nothing to read off, straight off the mind. As a person growing up without a mentor, I believe mentoring can really play a big role in guidance and hope. When I come guidance, I'm talking about a person who's willing to really show a person how it's done. Not just tell him, but to really bring him under his wing, show him take him places, really show him a different place in a different environment. And hope. For me, I feel once a kid or just anybody loses hope, that's when everything mentally it's just a complete breakdown. And like I said, I ain't really have much, so that's really all I really have.
So in my role as a mentor and doing work around mentorship and as a lead mentor for this project that we worked on, Project Restore Best Eye, I could tell you mentorship is simply one or two things. The first thing is it's meeting people exactly where they are. It's that simple. The second thing is that mentorship is to me, and it has been to most of the people that I've mentored in prison and out, is providing support. Oftentimes, just someone who's willing to listen and understand what exactly is going on with that individual at that time, and making sure that there are effective ways to support that person through whatever they're going through. I'm here to tell you that it is going to be mentorship and support that helps young people, and a lot of what you see us presenting today lead to success. Thank you.
The center is the most important part of anything you do. I mean, in this center, we're starting at 264 Lexington. Not too far away was my center, right there, 715 Gates Avenue. That's where I grew up. That's where I was born. I went to Boys and Girls High School, like a lot of people in here. And I want everyone to know that the center, it is the most important place to start. Understand that Bedford-Stuyvesant, it's a lot of different things that go on over there. Just about over 5,000 crime victims this year alone, about 5,016 actually, just this year alone, and about 2,027 victims of 7 major incidents, just in the precincts of the 79 and the 81st precincts just alone. As Bed-Stuy is a larger area, but just those 2 core precincts is truly the heart and soul of Bed-Stuy. But with this project, we start at a center. Doesn't matter where it is, where you start, but today we start at 264 Lexington, our center. Very close to Restoration Plaza, which is located at Fulton and Marcy on the corner. Very close to the Police Athletic League Center, located on Gates and Gates and Marcy Avenue, very close. Many different centers are along Bed-Stuy here to help everyone, but ours is at 264 Lexington, Community Board 3. In our in our center, we're gonna be having a lot of different stakeholders within 264 Lexington. We're gonna be working alongside with the Bed-Stuy Community Partners Program, which is a CCP. All right, we have the Youth Empowerment Services, Bed-Stuy Strong, Kings County Against Brooklyn Violence Initiative, Brooklyn Peer Advocacy, along with NYCHA, the New York City Department of Mental Hygiene, as well as the New York City Department of Probation. These key stakeholders will be the most important people in the center, as they will organize and form all of the mental health programs that will run inside of it.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the best part, the money, how much it costs. Okay. So our community-based mental health hub is cost efficient and it's impactful. By leveraging free NYCHA facilities, we've created a budget maximized community benefit at a minimal. So the important part of this that I want you to know is that the annual cost per prisoner in New York City is $556,539 per body, but the cost of our hub is only $355,000. So let's invest wisely. Thank
you. The result of this program is gonna, actually all of these things up here tie into each other, actually, because we're starting out in the communities which is closest to the problem, which have high incarceration rates, high violence rates. Study shows that people from these communities are more likely to have trauma and be dealing with depression and stress and a lot of those things. And by us helping the community and giving people a lot of mentors, we feel like we will reduce the stress of certain people and reduce the stigma of wanting to be helped. I feel like in the community where I'm from, the stigma of people wanting to be helped makes them look as if they're less of or if they're weak. And that plays a lot into the violence that be going on because a lot of people just simply don't have nothing to talk to, somebody to talk to or nothing really to talk about. And we will provide the space that will give them the comfort of meeting people who actually been through the same circumstances as them, but have found a way to narrow their lives into a straighter path. And in closing, I feel like the meeting people where they are method that we come up with, right? I get this from, I feel like Project Restore inspired this and another local community resource as well, because when this program started, a lot of people that I know didn't even have the proper identification that will help them be in a position to get a job. So it was kind of like people in low-income communities already fighting the things that they're fighting, and they can't even get a job to help financially support themselves, and that kind of leaves people in like a shell and get people stuck. So we will be helping people all across the board as far as mentally, economically, and emotionally. I mean, so, yeah. And that's all. That's all.
Whew. Those weren't bad. All right. I want to welcome up the next group. I think this group probably has the best name. Project Beloved.
All right, is this how I get this? Oh, why did it do the weird thing? I don't know. But
take mics on that side. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
I think they want to stand in this front.
You want to stand in the middle?
And you could pass the mic, right?
It's a lot of people. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tosin Kapaluyi, and this is my group.
Hi, I'm Tara.
I'm Lynn.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Samaya.
I'm Luz.
I'm Ariel.
Alan.
Marie. Michal.
And we are Project Beloved. I have a friend named Jamal. Everybody say hi, Jamal.
Hi, Jamal.
Jamal was a very bubbly kid growing up. He played sports. He was what you call a jack of all trades. He played sports. He was good with the ladies, all of that. But there was a big problem. Unfortunately, Jamal was charged with attempted murder. And he's being housed in Horizons Detention Center right now. With cold hard beds, nights were freezing, air smelled like despair, and the people around him showed no mercy. Every day felt like a fight against the system, against loneliness, and sometimes against himself. He couldn't see a way out, just endless concrete walls and a future that seemed lost. We're gonna expand why Project Beloved would have been a good program for Jamal. I'm gonna pass it to Sunshine here to tell you what Beloved means.
So, hey guys, we're gonna do a little exercise because you know the room is too quiet for me and I can't do quiet. So I want you to look to the left or to the right of you or the person in front or back and say, Beloved.
Love it. Love it.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Love it.
So how did that feel? So, food for thought. I was wondering, where do y'all think the word beloved come from? Do you know?
A classic by the good old Toni Morrison from her book? Church?
Y'all all wrong. Listen, the truth is, beloved is actually a prison term that we use to humanize each other instead of call each other inmates. And we call each other beloved all the time, right? Shout out to my people that were formerly incarcerated in the crowd too.
So what is Project Beloved? Go back.
So, here we go. When it comes to the seeds of the beloved and how the project actually came about. I am justice impacted, and I did time, just as a couple people standing here right next to me. So, with that being said, I was told my charge was too serious, nobody can't work with me because of my charge, and I'm a victim and a survivor of human trafficking. But thankfully, because you know, I don't play that. I don't want to hear no. I fought for my freedom, and I fought for my baby and my mama back there to come back home. But that couldn't happen without one person who's standing here today. Her name is Jasmine Rose. Can you please stand up? She's all the way in the back. She's hiding. So, the truth is about Jasmine Rose. This beautiful young woman that you see is an amazing poet, by the way. But without her court advocacy letters and sitting down with me doing therapeutic arts, whether it's poetry, music, painting, whatever it was on the island when she came through my dorm, knowing we was wild as hell. But without her, without that lady right there, I wouldn't be here standing today looking at y'all.
Alrighty. Oh wait, actually, I don't need a mic. Can you guys hear me, or should I use the mic? Okay, I guess I do need a mic.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Sunshine, for sharing a little bit about your testimony. And on the other side, I'll share what brought me to Project Beloved. A lot of the time when people ask me what's the root of my social justice calling, I tell them it was the mere fact of being born. Yes, to be born a Black Mexican woman in America is enough to be a revolutionary. Yes, and the odds were the odds were stacked against me. I mean, isn't that what Tupac's always rapping about? I remember being 12 years old, a little girl, walking down the street by myself, grocery shopping at the 99-cent store for 6 people with $20, and still wondering why Uncle Sam gets so damn mad that we all can't be ballers. I remember calling out "Daddy" to a street full of housing insecure people and hoping that my father turned around. I remember the criminal injustice system, and I say injustice because there's nothing just about it. Going after my parents for their issues with addiction. I remember the state getting so mad that they couldn't go after my parents enough that they tried to target me and my siblings by going after us in foster care. But it's okay, because the day that the cop pulled us over and took me home in the back of a squad car to the government agency, they smiled. But now, one thing that the state and the government weren't counting on is how well my single mother of 4 and my Black daddy struggling on the streets did raising me, and the strength they instilled in me in the fight. And they never went to college, and it was okay because they didn't have to. Life was their classroom. But hey, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to college. Because of all this, I go to Columbia for free now. Where I'm pre-law, and I get to be our mascot, the Colombian lion, instead of getting fed to them like so many of our brothers and sisters do, with my parents included. And my social justice calling never stopped. Even at Columbia, through the Justice and Education Initiative program, JIE for short, I am currently someone's beloved. But the issue is, let me rephrase a little bit. For some context, through JIE, people who were previously locked in cages, AKA prisons and jails, now currently attend Columbia University, and I guide them. But the issue is there's only one of me. Don't crowd, guys. There's not enough arrow to go around. And I joke a lot, but I'm pre-law, and I watch a lot of How to Get Away with Murder, but sometimes my mentees be coming up to me asking me legal questions, and I don't know how to help them. And so there's the need for people like me who are well-meaning, but also people like the amazing government officials standing behind me with expertise in order to help people. Because it's not enough to have individuals. We need a formalized program. And that's where Project Beloved comes in. Alrighty, we're gonna do another activity because that's what our group does here. I want everybody to please raise your hand if you know someone who is young and currently incarcerated or was incarcerated when they were young. Alrighty, we see you. Now, with Project Beloved, we're gonna teach you how to transform that raised hand into a raised fist. Alrighty, and now there are 2 choices. On one hand, we have the reality. Newsflash, it ain't good. It's the way things currently stand. Now, on the other side, we have what happens when you invest in people and communities and programs like Project Beloved. Now, for those math nerds out there, we're gonna open with a jarring statistic. 90% of the youth incarcerated, AKA locked up in cages in New York City, are Black or Hispanic. Now I'm pre-law, and math isn't my thing, but even I know that's a big-ass number. And last time I checked in the mirror, I'm Black and I'm Mexican, so I guess I'm doubly screwed according to this statistic. Tosin. Don't you think it's ridiculous that we have a higher chance of being locked in a cage, statistically?
Absolutely.
Then, let me finish. Then attending an institution like mine, Columbia, or yours, John Jay?
Absolutely.
Doesn't it make you pissed? Doesn't it make you upset? All right. I mean, it's getting hot in here. I can't see, my glasses are foggy, but it's just hot with oppression. And now, imagine you're a 16 or 17-year-old. You did a serious charge. Your family can't afford bail because they can barely afford to put food on the table. So what happens? You're tossed into Horizon or Crossroads facilities, which are euphemisms for kids' jail, juvie. Now, in theory, it sounds nice. I looked at the website. Toastin did too. We were checking out the pamphlet. And I was thinking to myself, well, shit, this might be nicer than the deal I got in foster care. You're telling me I get recreation, there's programming, there's health care, even dental, and that's where they get you. Mental health help. But theory is not the same as practice. The reality is that what happens when you're tossed in Horizon or Crossroads is the same violence that probably got you there in the first place is the same violence you're going to be subjected to once you're there. There's not school guaranteed every day. So I'm sorry, Jamal, but it looks like you're going to have to sleep on the floor in the visitor's room because there's not enough beds for you. You're strip searched, and perhaps worst of all, you think it's normalized to be treated like a quote-unquote criminal, to be manhandled, to go to court all the time. And now, you might be wondering, well, Ariel, are we just screwed? Well, yes, but there's a positive coming unless you invest in Project Beloved, and we're going to tell you how.
So, Project Beloved, as y'all can see, we shouldn't just use this term altogether on the outside, but we should use it on an everyday basis and not limit it to just being inside of prison. The truth is, a lot of people with serious charges, they're often trying to escape danger, their trauma, or systematic oppression, and they're just running on their survival instincts. So, yes, we are dealing with people with serious charges. They do have a public safety risk. So how are we going to help them? By keeping them busy with Project Beloved. So, Project Beloved altogether is having wraparound holistic services with extensive mentorship. And when I tell you the mentorship is going to be individuals who also have serious offenses and got their lives together and have transitioned home and are doing successful things on the outside. Some of them are actually in this crowd today, which is amazing. And they're doing amazing work. And so with that being said, on to the next slide. So this is the Beloved model. Yes, we have a model. We're bougie.
We're beautiful.
So our mentorship will be social and emotional life skills. What do I mean by that? It could be effective communication, socialization, just talking about anything, having somebody to talk to. The next one is healing and restorative circles. What does that mean? It means you're able to sit down with a bunch of people that you don't know and actually talk about your trauma and have accountability for the harm that you have done, not just to yourself, not just to your family, but an entire community. And then art-based interventions is just showing that vulnerability is strength. So being able to paint, do poetry, spoken word, have an open mic like we doing right now. Things like what we do with J. Rose on the island, stuff like that, that's what we need to keep these kids busy. Because the truth is, a lot of them kept music and art out of our schools. And so they don't have that interaction on a daily basis anymore. And last but not least is the last two that are really phenomenal. Case management. Of course, we do have to report to the courts and make sure that they're actually engaged in our program and doing everything that they're supposed to in order to go home. So with that being said, once they get released, we are always going to meet their immediate needs. Whatever they need, we're going to be their new bestie. So this up here is actually the Beloved ecosystem. So our main focus is the youth participant, which you can see is the biggest circle there. So trying to get this individual home is our priority. The truth is, with our model altogether is not offense-based. It is individualized. We don't look at the person for their charge, and we don't make sure that we don't have them live in their past. So the other unique component of our project is the Beloveds. The Beloveds are actually individuals like myself that are 24 years over, cannot get any services, but because, most services for the justice impacted are cut off at 24. So they're actually credible messengers or navigators or simply all these other bubbles over here, violence interrupters, They have all these different forms of uniqueness, but they were all justice impacted. So they know what it's like to have a serious offense and have that lived experience and actually be able to talk to them and meet them where they're at. Because the truth is, in order to bridge that gap, we have to find out what's the real problem. The real problem is, yes, Horizons and Crossroads, they do have these services already, but the kids don't trust them. Why? Because who's gonna trust the government? I'd rather trust somebody that already been through it. So that's just how kids think. And so with that being said, that's how we have a two-way street in which we both heal not just our families, our communities, but ourselves.
All right, so there's 4 phases that will happen. So the first phase is pretty big. It's going to include a lot of things. So phase 1, this is where our recruited beloveds will go inside the facility and detention centers where our recruited young people, and they'll be partnering with them. And within this partnership, they'll be building relational equity through trust and engagement. They'll also be participating, the youth will also be participating in artistic therapy and other program activities. And also within this phase, the beloveds, the youth, as well as our other staff members will be working together to create a reentry plan. And now we go on to phase 2.
All right, phase 2 of Project Beloved really is actively advocating for the youth participants to be released from the detention through the advancement they will make through the program, together with the mentor that they're chosen or most close or interacting with. And from there, we help them with the programs outside of jail and the detention to keep them out. And hopefully they stay out with communication and life skills like that in the hood.
So basically, we're advocating for their release. Our partnership with defense lawyers and attorneys and government officials will properly advocate for the release of the participants.
Now we move on to phase 3. And in phase 3, with the hopes of phase 2 being successful, this is where we'll be outside the community. And the beloveds and the youth, they will be working together, continuing that program, and now they will be receiving services, and they'll be in spaces like Brave Spaces, which is basically an environment where they can feel supported and express their thoughts. And then we'll go on to phase 4.
Before we move on to phase 4, what's different about phases 1, 2, and 3 from what already exists is that while some of these mentors, some of these programs might exist either within the detention facilities or outside the detention facilities, Project Beloved is going to provide the youth with a mentor who's going to be consistent from start to finish, following them throughout their journey.
And phase 4, the last phase, is where now our youth participants are becoming beloveds. They're now these credible messengers, these navigators. They're learning everything that their once mentor has done in order to help them advocate for them to come out. Now they're that person in that same place. And now we're building a bigger community of people. Just like she said earlier, there's not enough of us. We're now building that community using the train-to-trainer model. And with that, we will have support on the job, and our goal is to give them hope to pursue a legal job and have them feel safe and have also have a space for them to survive.
So we'll start at phase 1, go to phase 4, and then start all over again, because we're going to continue to do this as long as the criminal system continues to target 16, 17-year-olds.
Now we have our stakeholders and potential partners. So phase 2 and 3, a lot of these folks will be incorporated, specifically Exalts, Bronx, Manhattan Connects, and Avenues for Justice. So these are just some of the folks we'll be working with. Thank you.
Okay, expected outcomes. Now, y'all can read, so I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. I want to highlight again that with our continuum of care inside and outside of facilities like Horizon and Crossroads, that's individualized, people are less likely to go back into cages, aka prisons and jails, when they're adults. Also, safety. I feel like that's America's favorite word right now. Everybody's concerned with public safety. Okay, well, if you're really concerned with safety, you will invest in programs like Project Beloved. And also, hey, another expected outcome. It's easier on Horizon and Crossroads. Y'all got a lot on your plate. Let us lighten your administrative load. Another thing, also, we are going to be data collecting. For those of you who don't believe that Project Beloved can work, well, we're going to have testimonies and numbers to show you that it does work. So hopefully we can expand it to all over New York.
And to shout out Project Restore Bed-Stuy, we are inspired by them. We appreciate their outcomes, so we hope to further those on.
Can I get an amen if y'all like money? Oh, y'all don't sound like y'all like money. Okay, so before y'all get spooked by the number, I just want to say approximately 10 incarcerated youths. 10 incarcerated youths is $4.5 million. We are only asking for 1.2, and that costs 73% less. That's a big Black Friday discount. And that will provide long-term healing center solution. It reduces recidivism. It promotes community while reducing harm and trauma. So what I like about this is that our youth participants, they will also receive an incentive every time. So they will receive $25 an hour and 20 hours a week. So that's money. Yeah.
Alrighty, next slide. Also, one thing my brother Tosin forgot to add is also the Beloveds get paid themselves.
Oh, yeah, word. Beloved get paid.
Last slide. Now, I know you might be feeling overwhelmed. We're going against the whole carceral state, and you might be thinking, OMG, Ariel, is there anything we can do? Yes. I want everybody to please take out their phone right now. Not to take a photo of me. I know I'm pretty. Just scan the QR code. I'll wait. Everybody take your phone out. Alrighty. Now, please fill out our Google form, and, if you have a lot of money, it'd be great if you could fund us. If you're poor like me, that's cool beans too. Maybe you could be a beloved, or maybe you could provide some type of support. Maybe you have a space, or maybe you know other people in your network who could be helpful partners. And before we close today, I want to remind everybody of the statistic we open with, that 90% of the youth incarcerated, locked in cages, are either Black or Hispanic. Now, what that number doesn't show is the faces behind them. What happens is, when you don't invest in programs like Project Beloved, what you're really doing is locking up people like myself, people like Sunshine, people like Samaya, people like Tosin, people like Alan.
And Jamal.
And their friends, and their family, and their communities, and people like the little boy standing behind me with a bed that's way too small.
I'm gonna read this slow. I have a 17-year-old nephew who just beat his second gun charge by the mercy of God in October. I think he needs a beloved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking for that too. Amazing.
Last but not least, I want to introduce Rise and Thrive Initiative.
Spread out, 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 spread out. Because you go after me. Peace and human justice. Peace and human justice, everyone. My name is Dr. Starks, and today we'll be presenting on a Rise and Thrive initiative. I want to begin with a quote. I am no longer accepting things I cannot, I am no longer accepting things, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept, by Angela Davis.
Okay. Hi, I just want to briefly introduce ourselves. My name is Jeannie Lopez Melendez.
I'm Melvin Clark.
Raheem Downer Jr.
I'm Jediah Lewis.
I'm Destiny Bostic.
Jeffrey Severe.
Darius Bryant.
Wesley Jeffries.
Darrell Epps.
Jonathan Arroyo.
Miriam Owakil.
I'm Jordan Lewis Brown.
I hold it.
We're going to start with the problem statement. So the Rise and Thrive initiative aims to address the issue of street crime and high recidivism rates among street-affiliated youth and young adults. Many young people face limited opportunities for employment and education due to systemic barriers such as poverty, community disinvestment, and discrimination, and this leads to involvement in criminal activities. The lack of accessible resources and the lack of resources that the youth do not have lead them to have less chances of positive development and integration into society.
The main contributing factors youth in our neighborhood face are: one, policy and practices. Both workplaces and school institutions have a zero-tolerance policy which can throw youth off their path to success while already providing inadequate access to support, such as mental health services, job training, and mentorship. Another factor is law. The criminal justice system is swift and harsh for those who are lower on the financial hierarchy, pushing youth into the school to prison pipeline, which is messed up because these are my friends and probably your friends. The final contributing factor is societal impact. Communities are poverty-stricken, so instead of students going home to do homework, they're thinking about what's going to be their next meal and how they're going to wash their clothes for the next morning. Community disinvestment, structural discrimination are anchoring my peers' quality of education and health. Thank you.
Keeping that in mind, imagine a future in which every young person in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and every other marginalized community has the opportunity to reach and fulfill their own potential. A future where the cycles of violence, poverty, mass incarceration, and limited opportunity are broken. A future where every young person who dares to dream can have the confidence knowing that pathways exist where their dreams can become a reality. This is why we created the Rise and Thrive initiative. And now I'm going to pass it to one of my brightest and our brightest stars and leaders, Wesley Jeffries, to tell you a little bit more.
The Rise and Thrive initiative is a 90-day youth empowerment program designed to support street-affiliated youth and young adults. We will be giving support such as healing and wellness retreats, community integrations, mentorship and case management, educational support, life skills, and job readiness. The healing and wellness retreats is just so we can get the youth away from their community for a little while and help them with emotional support and trauma. The community integrations is where we will have the youth pick 3 different community events that they want to have so they could bring them close to the community and also get them a sense of accountability. Mentorship and case management. The mentorship I feel is important because without my great mentors, I wouldn't be as great as I think I am today. And the case management is for them to track their success and give them additional resources as needed. The educational support, if you don't have your GED or high school diploma, we will aid you and then give you additional support on furthering your education or job, career, wherever you want to go. The life skills training, I feel is good to give the youth like a track, a day-to-day schedule, something to do, and show them how to navigate that in real life. Job readiness, we'll be offering services such as resume building, and interview prep. We are seeking $450,000 annually to make this dream a reality. Addressing the identified problem. This proposal addresses the issues faced by marginalized youth in Bed-Stuy. Sometimes the kids where we from, I know me, we really feel like we don't have no support. We want to do a lot of things, we want to do everything, but we feel like we don't have the backup to do it. So we're going to give them the backup to support them and hopefully to make their dreams a reality too.
Example of similar programs. Similar initiatives have demonstrated success in improving education and attainment and basically street affiliated youth. But similar programs like Los Angeles, y'all can read it, Los Angeles Youth Source Centers, they support services to reduce the youth unemployment. In Chicago, Becoming a Man, known as BAM, they this program noticed the focus on young men of color to provide social emotional learning. Mentor works in New York City. But I forgot, I can't read this right here. My bad. They basically all these programs, they basically work on social emotional support, GED prepping, and everything like that. But our primary goal is basically to reduce youth crime by offering alternative street involvement. Positive at that. My bad, I forgot that part. We will help with GED support to open doors to further education for career opportunities. What else would we do? Enhanced job readiness, like Wesley said. We would be like doing prep interviews. I can't remember off the head. I'm not used to this. So we will basically, I got other stuff written down, I'm sorry. We will reduce youth crime by offering positive alternative to street involvement. We will increase educational attainment by providing GED support to open doors to higher educational, better career opportunities for participants. We will enhance job readiness. Participants will complete the program with practical skills and resources, making them more competitive in the job market. Promoting healing and personal growth. This is designed to address trauma, emotional resilience, and promoting healthier lifestyle choices. With that, pass it. Mario.
So we're going to be measuring success in several ways. Okay, we're going to be measuring both long-term and short-term success. And the first one is we're going to track the percentage of the participants who complete the full 90-day program. And then the recidivism rate, we're measuring any changes in recidivism rates among participants. And this is going to be 1 year after the completion of the program. So we're going to be checking out what they're doing. We're monitoring the number of participants who secure jobs, who get their GED, who go on to continuing education within 6 months of completing the program. And we're going to be tracking participants also how they interact with their community events and any reported improvements with the relationships in the community, how they're giving back to the community after they completed this 90-day program of Rise and Thrive. Also, we're going to be keeping track of their personal growth and wellness, and that's by them self-reporting to us on their well-being, on their emotional resilience, and their quality of life. Next, we're going to keep a deeper track of evaluation, and we're going to administer surveys at the start and the end of each cohort session. And this is just to assess any changes in the participants, their life skills, their self-confidence, community engagement. And this is also going to go a little bit deeper and include questions about the youth's goals, their perceived challenges, and personal development to capture a baseline and an inline to just have data as a comparison reference. Now, we're going to do one-on-one interviews with the participants mid-program and after the completion of the program, and that's just to gain a quantitative insights to their experiences and the personal growth, and also areas of improvement that they need help with. So, we're going to have 3 components that we're definitely keeping track of, and that's our facilitators, our case managers, and community partners. But the facilitators and the case managers, they're going to give us feedback on how the participants engaged in our program, progressed in life skills, job readiness, and just overall responsiveness to the support services that we've given them. And then the community, we're going to obtain insights from the community partners about their interactions with the participants and perceptions of any positive changes that our participants are taking back into the communities. And that's with their behaviors, their attitudes, and just overall participation. And now at the end, we're definitely keeping track of different increments of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months of the overall education, life skills that our participants gained after completing this program. So we're keeping up and monitoring with our youth. Let's pass it on to Jeffrey.
Wesley. And now we're going to speak about the key stakeholders in the program. And we've heard a lot about them this evening. And the key stakeholders are the street-affiliated youth, who would be the primary beneficiaries. And they're the ones who are most impacted and affiliated with the street culture and violence. And we're also trying to make sure that we remove the barriers to both education, employment, and social supports that they need. Also, we have the families, which are also very key stakeholders, because we know that without them, these youth would be nothing and our communities would be nothing. So we always need to make sure that we prioritize them. The families, we hope, will be super impacted by the fact that this creating a supportive environment for the street affiliated youth. And we hope that that will also help build stronger community bonds and allow for stronger community ties. We also think that the local community has to be a really key stakeholder as well, because without the neighborhood support and the neighborhood opportunity, the youth will not have the confidence to move forward. But it also is something that, to be quite honest, if you are in a community and you walk around and you believe that the people looking at you who live near you don't believe in you, there's little reason to think that you would believe in yourself. So it's really deeply important to have them as key stakeholders. They're not often named, but we need to make sure that we explicitly name them. What we also expect them to do is offer us a lot of referrals and outreach and collaborations. And what this will do is allow and assist with outreach and support to make sure that there's adequate community engagement. We're also going to make sure that we're pulling in a lot of funding and resources. And the way that we're going to do this is make sure, like the government partners and others, offering grants and provide in-kind resources similar to, venues or supplies, whatever makes the most sense. We also know that the strong component that we're going to have is to make sure that there's mentorship and volunteer opportunities. This is where the community, local leaders can be directly involved by providing mentors, facilitators, and guest speakers like we've had here this evening. That's fostering a sense of shared responsibility and ideal support. Then we will make sure that there's continuous feedback and that the program adapts, because without adaptation, you will not survive. With that, we'll give it regular input and we'll ensure the program remains responsive to the community and always is evolving. Got you.
Okay. Key stakeholder buy-ins. Now, I was raised old-fashioned. And the saying and phrase that I grew up on was, it takes a village to raise a child. Now, we are that village. And in that village, let's go back in time to minorities and African Americans. The biggest pillar in our community was the church. Religious-based community organizations, we come together, we will be able to provide the resources and tools that our students and youth need to actually attend or want to be their better selves.
And we're going to leave you with this quote. It's an African proverb: one bracelet could not jingle alone. Thank you, everyone.
We just made the time, too.
Yeah, I had to be short and concise.
Nah, we just made the time.
Now we'll start the certificate conferral.
Took that.
All right. How about another hand for all those?
Woo!
So, there's a lot of us, so bear with us. I got 35 certificates up here. I'm gonna call you out by name. If Geraldine, Professor Downey, if you could come up, if you're still here. And is Jarrell still here? Okay. So I'm gonna call out your name. If you come up, receive your certificate, shake our hands, take a picture, and then walk off to the side. This is a big moment for everyone, so really soak it in. Angel Soto. We'll get his after. Rel, come up here. Anna Rose Telemake. Antoine Parker. Ariel Gilbert. Woo! Christian Demir Gist. I might have butchered that. Danielle Trevino. It's your namesake, Destiny Bostic. Hector Rodriguez. Yeah, man. Jaden Rivera. Where's Jaden at? There he is. Jedediah Lewis Howell. Woo! Lonsdale Allen. Jordan Lewis Brown. Luz Sunshine Hernandez. Michael Williams. Michael Williams here? Yeah! Tosin Kapola Yui. My bad on the last name, Tosin. I love this name. Raheem Downey Jr. Yeah. We're making progress. We're making progress. Sekou Toure. Where's he at? Yeah. Stephen Novas. Tahari Spencer. Now on to the adults. Carly Sigelski. Daryl Epps. Jeannie Melendez Lopez. Jeffrey Sevier. Johnny Solomon. Lauren Cordolato. Lauren Lynn Etchenberg. Where's Lynn at? Marie Lewis. Matilda Adenije. I know how to say that.
That's right, that's my girl.
Melvin Clark, Big Melvin. Michal Gross. Molly Brotmiller. Nancy Ginsburg. Tara Suku. Dr. Unique C. Starks. How about one more round of applause for everyone? Before we grab refreshments, Jamani Williams wasn't able to be here, but if Jeffrey Sevier could come up and please read something that was with Dr. Unique Starks.
Can Claudia Rincon and the Center for Justice staff come down? Oh, this is the rest of the staff that's down. Claudia's not here?
Claudia, and the staff.
Wouldn't Al come?
Everyone from the Center for Justice.
Everyone from the Center for Justice, like Al?
Ava, Brooke.
We can see y'all.
Brooke, Center for Justice staff, can y'all please come down? Wesley, Titus, Darius, if you're Center for Justice staff, please come down. Tahari, Jonathan.
Okay. You said, you take your back. No, I'm not gonna read the prop. Cool. Ready? Good. Okay. So, first of all, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Sevier. I have the great pleasure of having been in this program, so I want to thank you all for coming to our graduation and conferral ceremony, and I want to thank everyone, all of the participants and the mentors, so much for their dedication and just the commitment to service that they showed. So, you guys give yourself a round of applause real quick. I'm being ready. It was also mentioned in our proposal about the importance that the families are as like key stakeholders and community as key stakeholders. So thank you all for being here to support the people that allow them to be able to visit here, because we understand what it is that there's babies that need to be washed, there's shirts that need to be ironed, there's ties that need to be tied, there's a couple dollars to get on the bus or the train that needs to be given, and you all are here to support this community, so we thank you all as well. Okay, now I can get to the fun part. Once again, I said my name was Jeffrey Severe. I have the great pleasure and honor of working in the Public Advocate's Office. That's the Public Advocate of New York City. That's Jumani D. Williams. I consider that a great privilege because it puts me in spaces with people like this and young people like this and participants and mentors like this, which is a really remarkable opportunity. Look at you, Jarrell. Which is really a remarkable opportunity, and I consider that a deep privilege. Also want to shout out former public advocate staff Jabril Jallo here as well, so thank you for coming out. And as Jumani would of course say, his brother from another mother, K. Bain from CCD. Well, the Center for Justice at Columbia University, we first encountered them really deeply around Project Restore, and I had the great pleasure to visit the university and meet with the folks, and actually just randomly, I think it was the week that Columbia was going through the protests is when I actually came to visit, and I got to sit with you all, and I got to sit in on a meeting. It was just kind of like an accidental meeting. I realized I accidentally met Jonathan several times. What I took from that was the dedication and commitment and the energy in that space and how deeply nurturing it was. So I was really deeply honored. I think it was Gabe who reached out to me like, I think I have a no-brainer. I think you should be a part of this program. So I was like, thank you so much, Gabe, for even thinking of me. You guys were so like informative and pushing us. And I know that having the opportunity as well to speak to Jarrell so deeply about his commitment and the journey that he's been on and being able to pull out this project and also manage to get it funded and manage to see a demonstration of this pilot and see it actively work. And we could see the fruits of that labor sitting in this room right here. So I thank you deeply for that, the whole entire staff. So the Public Advocate of New York City could not be here this evening, but I made a really strong request that he at least give a proclamation to the Center for Justice at Columbia University because of your deep commitment to passion, the opportunities that you've given people in this room, the opportunities you've given to people that are not in this room, the work that you put into making Project Restore work just alongside with Mach J, Inside Bridge, Healing Circle, it's Inside Circle, my fault. Apologies, Bridge Street Development, and also the KCDA. All of you had a hand, but we are also sitting here at Columbia University. It is your house, and the brainchild of Project Restore, which spurred a lot of this, is from you all. So we want to deeply thank you. I will not read this proclamation. It's very long. You gave out a lot of certificates. Just thank you so much on behalf of the larger community, because the work that you have done has reverberations beyond anything that you could know. So continue on, and I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
And Dr. Downey, Dr. Roncone, Cheryl Wilkins, and Kathy Boudin have been opened the doors of the Center for Justice for many of us. Jarrell has been a conduit for so many, but there is Dario Pena in here, and so many people that have come under your tutelage. So this is just a thank you. I wouldn't be who I am today without the Center for Justice. I say this very emotionally, so we want to present this to you. So Dr. Downey, Dr. Rincon, this is for you.
You should take a picture.
Yeah, picture.
You should get a picture. You should get a picture.
Nah, you gotta see his shirt. You gotta see.
Jeannie.
Also, I just would like to say I didn't know Dario was in the room. Sing Sing was amazing. Y'all should go see it.
Okay, guys, if you exit through this door and make a left, there's food and refreshments. So everybody, let's eat.
And thank you for coming.